So we're back again, and as usual, we're talking about the research process. Today, we're going to be talking a little bit about the literature review. Yes, that's probably going to be the longest chapter in your research. It's not the most difficult one, but of course, there are tips that I'll give to you that will help you to carry out your literature review and really assist you in searching the literature in such a way that you are able to present facts from what you have found and to be able to compare the findings from your data to what the literature is saying. So the literature review is really a process in which we search the literature for information relating to various aspects of our study. At the start of the study, you would have been asked to define your overarching research question. You would also have been asked to identify 3 or 4 specific research questions that would relate to your study. So if we're looking at attitudes towards the COVID vaccine, we might basically identify maybe 3 key areas of the study. We might want to look at knowledge of the existence of the virus. We might want to look at sources of information, and we might want to look at perceptions about the vaccine. As you identify those 3 questions, you will search your literature relating to each of these questions. So let us say you're going to look at perceptions or attitudes towards taking a vaccine. You will get into your literature and you will begin to search just as you have written by a term or a phrase, attitude towards vaccines. Or you might want to search vaccination, perceptions of vaccines, and so on. As you search, various articles will pop up. Some of them may be relevant, some of them may not be relevant. What is important though is that if you're using the APA 7th edition, that APA writing style, you will be required to select your literature or your sources such that 85% of your sources will be between 1 and 5 years old, right? So the aim is to ensure that the data that you collect or the information you get from your literature is not older than 5 years. And you basically search by terms. You'll vary these terms, these search terms. There is actually a method of searching which is called a Boolean search methodology, Boolean. You can look it up, get on the net. And the Boolean methodology allows you to use individual words. It allows you to use combination of words or combination of phrases. And for each word or each phrase, between those two, you will put the plus sign. If it is a phrase and you want to search for the phrase in entirety, you will put that phrase in quotation marks. And in doing the search, whether you use Google Scholar, scholargoogle.com, or any other academic search site, your school library, what you will find is that as you vary the search terms, then more and more articles will actually appear, and you'll be able to scan them, identify the ones that are relevant, and choose them. This is something you'll do for each research question. So each question is tied to looking at a specific issue, and you're going to search by using search words that are tied to that issue. And as you find your articles, download them. Usually they come up in PDF copy. Download them to your drive, your temporary drive, your flash drive, or your computer. Organize them and store them, because you will be needing them at some later date. As you download these articles, be sure to identify the information that you will need for your reference. So in your literature review, you will cite the sources, but at the end of the literature review, you will list your references. References are listed in alphabetical order using the surname of the author or the surname of the first of a number of authors. Where it is a website, you will not have a surname, but then you will list your website or the article, the periodical, in the alphabetical order, right? So that is something you should remember. As you identify these articles, remember to store all the information related to the article, the author or authors of the article, the year it was published, the title of the article, the journal in which this article was published, and I will actually say to you, you need to refer to your APA manual for the specifics of referencing, whether it is a periodical, that would be like a newspaper, a book, a conference, a dissertation, published or unpublished, or a journal, online journal, or a hard copy journal. The APA manual tells you specifically how to write each reference based on the source, the type of source. That is something I want you to bear in mind. Once you have completed your search of articles, you begin to scour the articles looking for information relating to your issue or information that can help to answer your question. As you write, you are required to do what the university refers to as synthesize. So you're not just writing facts which are standalone facts. As you write based on what you find in each source or what each author is saying, you're required to create a story. So it's a sequential story about what you found in the literature, first relating to knowledge of the COVID-19, secondly relating to attitudes towards vaccines, thirdly relating to attitude towards observing the protocols, just for argument's sake. And as you go through, you're creating a story, and you will begin each paragraph by citing what authors say. If you make a statement, a starting statement, that's fine, but every piece of information that you list as coming from a specific article, you should have a citation next to that information. If you don't have a citation, you are suggesting that this is your statement, and if this is not your statement and you have suggested same, you will be guilty of plagiarism. Now, plagiarism is really the act of taking credit for work as yours when it belongs to somebody else, and there are significant dangers in it. Most universities dismiss students. They basically cancel your registration. You are literally kicked out of the university for plagiarism, because that's a serious violation of the Copyright Act. So you write your story, and each statement that comes from an article should be matched with a citation. So if you say around the world, approximately 90% of each population is aware of viruses, you didn't say that. You got that information from an article written by John Brown, and John Brown wrote that article in 2018. At the end of that sentence, you will be required to open a bracket and put Brown, 2018, and close it. Basically, you're saying, I'm crediting this statement to John Brown, and you must do that for each citation. If you begin your citation by referring to the author, Brown is written by itself, and in brackets you put the year, so it will be Brown 2018, suggested that approximately 90% of populations around the world are knowledgeable of viruses. That's something you'll state, and you would have credited Brown for it. Again, you go to your APA manual for guidance on how to do the citation. If it is a list of authors, you list them, and the very first time you list those authors, between the last two authors, the surname, you'll be required to put the word and, not using the ampersand, but you write out the word A-N-D. Every time after that, if it's more than 3 authors, you're required, not required, you're allowed, or possibly, yes, required to state Brown et al. And that et al. Has a full stop at the al, and you put a comma, and you put the year of publication. So there are different things that you're required to do, but importantly, in your literature review, you're writing a story on what you found in the literature related to what you found in your study. As you complete the literature and you complete your data analysis, in your discussions, what you will be doing is literally comparing the findings from the data to the findings from the literature. Where there are variations, or where they digress, or where there is some kind of imbalance between the two perspectives, you are required to discuss that difference and possibly make suggestions as to why this may be so. Once you have completed that and you get to the end, you are able to make conclusions, or you're able to make recommendations based on the findings of your study compared to what you found in the literature. Hopefully this chit chat on the literature review has helped you, and I'm hoping that it has clarified some of your doubts, some of your questions. Don't forget to like this video. Importantly, don't forget to share the video with friends, but especially with students who may be struggling with their research paper. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel.